I did. This Hangout on Air is now live. Live and direct. We're here. How exciting.
No yawning pod feet.
Shh. You weren't supposed to notice that. I thought I covered it up. All right. How's my... oh, I forgot to check to see what I was wearing. I guess I'm wearing my goggles up. Science is about to happen shirt. So let's see. We have a lively chat room going already. Who do we have here? We have Steve and Brett and Kevin and Nick. The first Nick and Sybil and Dan and Sandy, Jino Choi, Dorothy, who made it rain today. Let's see. NC. Oh, nope. NC just disappeared. And Rose and Richard and Spygosh, who is also a Nick. We have our full complement of Nicks. All right. My audio is too hot. Too hot, 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 baby. All right. How does the audio sound to you, Steve?
A little hot, but I can just turn you down.
If only you could in real life, I know. Okay, where's my cursor? There you are. All right, let's see if I can start a recording here. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. We're exciting today. Hi, this is Allison. And I can't hear anything. Why can't I hear from you? What have you changed? Output? Headphones. Could you hear that?
Yes.
This is Allison Sheridan of the... So I spent some time with Steve juggling all of the little toggle switches that I use. And... see, I bet if I turn this one... No, I don't want to do that one. Okay, what if I monitor pass-through? Okay, now can I hear you? I'm only hearing everything once. Let me see if I hear this. NosillaCast podcast. Nope, that isn't it. How about this one? It's hosted at Podfeed. Nope, that isn't it. Oops. Oops. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Hang on, an air input. If I monitor that, that's going to be weird, but maybe that's the right one. I bet that's it. .com. No. Talk for a second, Steve.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Talk again.
Testing, I'm here.
Okay.
Talking to the NosillaCast castaways.
All right. Why can't I hear? That track is not muted. You guys are hearing it. Sound output for Audio Amadeus Pro. Set to my headphones. What is it supposed to go to? Let me make sure I can hear others. Oh, I can hear you. So it's not that. I'm going to quit Amadeus Pro and start it up again. Don't save. I don't think that's going to fix it, though. All right. All right, somebody tell me what it is. Let's see. Nope, can't hear it. Yeah, we might need to play that drinking game again, because the one thing I really got to be able to hear is Amadeus Pro. Amadeus Pro, preferences. Input is set to pass-through. Output is set to headphones. Let me bring up Clarify. I screenshotted everything when I had it working yesterday. English, please. Landon. Hi, Landon. What's he complaining about, Steve?
Well, if you're talking about the English, please comment. That was Kevin complaining that Hombre George, or I should say Hombre Jorge, is in the chat room.
Oh, no.
I think he's mean.
A meme?
Mean hombre.
Oh, mean hombre. I'm a nasty woman. Let's see. So that's not really supposed to be on. Uncheck that. What do I hear now? Ah, wait a minute. I change that. No, that should be it. Weird that doesn't break anything. NosillaCast input. How about NosillaCast input? Nope. When we tested, please tell me we tested me being able to hear Amadeus Pro.
That's a playback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah, I can't hear it. All right. What's hot? See what the Hangout on Air is set to. I'm not just fooling around for the fun of it because the show doesn't work if I can't hear Amadeus Pro. Nothing works. All right. Nicecast set to Nicecast input. And the volume's down. That's right. And my headphones have to be right? Because I can hear everything but that. Headphones. Sound input is supposed to be to pass through. Oh, it's set to Shure MVI, but that's fine, whatever. Output is supposed to be headphones. I don't know what's wrong. All right, you guys figure it out. All right, guys. You guys help me figure this out now. So this is Amadeus Pro. And when I push play here, you guys can hear it playing, but I cannot. So if I go to Amadeus Pro Preferences, maybe Dan can figure this one out. Output is set to headphones. That's my headphones, right? I also use this tool. And I'm looking at Hangout on Air input. This is loopback. I should be able to hear Amadeus Pro through this because I'm monitoring my audio through built-in output. Built-in output is my headphones right now. Steve, got any ideas? I'm serious. I've checked everything. Everything is set exactly as it was in our test.
So you're looking at the screenshots or the notes you took from our last test?
Mm-hmm.
And everything matches up and it's not?
Mm-hmm. And I can't hear it.
How about your system audios?
Okay. So I can hear you through my headphones right now. So this says output is set to headphones. And I can hear you. And I can hear when I change the volume on screen like this. I can hear that. So okay. I am hearing. It's just Amadeus Pro I can't hear. Which one might think would have something to do with something like this, where I've got Amadeus Pro set in there.
You already stopped it and restarted?
Yeah, I quit it. It's like I run it. There's too many ways this is controlled. I'm going to do something so you guys definitely won't be able to hear it. I want to see if it lets me hear it.
Okay.
All right. Now nobody can hear it.
No, we just heard that.
What?
Yeah. If you were just playing back the theme music, we heard it.
I was.
We heard that.
How are you hearing that?
I don't know. I don't think I'm hearing it through the room.
Oh, no. So maybe you're getting it through pass-through. Holy cow. It's almost like this is my first rodeo, huh? Pass-through. So how? There's no way for you to be able to hear that.
Well, I just performed the impossible. Maybe we should market this.
Dumb question. Is it plugged in? I'm serious. I literally do not know what's wrong. I don't have any ideas left. So I've got, where's my Clarify document? Did I close that? So I've got a Clarify document that we wrote just, now Clarify is crashing. This system should be, we heard it too, good. All right, so if I say File, Open, Recent here, and Clarify, why is Clarify taking so long? What's going on?
So John is asking, does Amadeus have an audio out setting?
Yeah, and that was what I was showing here. So if I go to Amadeus Pro Preferences, I've got an output. It's set to headphones.
Can you toggle it back and forth just to wiggle it?
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Change it to something else. Change it to the cinema display. Let me see if I can hear it now. Oh, I can.
Now toggle it back.
Headphones. Let's see if that fixes it. Yep, that fixed it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, come on. So I didn't set anything wrong.
Put that in your notes.
Oh, no.
So big shout out to John. Thank you.
All right, John. Thank you. You saved the show. All right, 5:09. We better get moving on doing a recording here.
Lot to do.
Okay, quit screwing around, everybody. Let's get to work. Whew. And I had looked at that. And I even quit the app.
Yeah,
okay.
That's weird.
Fine. Here we go. All right, mute Steve.
Muting now.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, October 23rd, 2016, and this is show number 598. We're getting really close to that 600 mark now. Well, I had a total blast this week on Chit Chat Across the Pond. I got to interview Shelley Brisbane again. She's the author of the excellent book, iOS Access for All. This time we didn't talk about accessibility, though, but rather the process of self-publishing. It's super geeky, and it gets into file formats and how she wrote her own custom CSS in order to format her books just the way she likes them. Shelley is always delightful and intelligent, and this interview is not an exception to that. Please go check it out at Chit Chat Across the Pond number 460, or just subscribe to the show with your podcatcher of choice. I had another fun thing this week. Bart needed to be in Belgium with his family, but it was the week he would normally do a Let's Talk Photography episode. I offered to stand in for him, and I was glad he accepted. You know, he always helps me, and I rarely get to do him a favor. He said the hard part was thinking up a topic and arranging the time when the most panel members could attend. I wanted to talk about smartphone photography, and I was super lucky to get Mark Poley of Twin Lakes Images, Victor Cajiao of Terratech, and Antonio Rosario of Switch to Manual. We had so much fun. We agreed on a lot and had some good arguments. We really dug into the topic of how amazing smartphone photography has really gotten. Go check it out over at lets-talk.ie. I just finished a really fun tutorial for Don McAllister's Screencast Online podcast. I did it on a $5 app for iOS called Rico Live Multicam. It's an app that lets you use an iPad or an iPhone as a video switcher and record the video. It's a crazy powerful tool, and the tutorial was nice and challenging to make because Multicam can use up to 4 video devices at once. These video devices can be your Mac screen, a Mac-connected webcam, or other iOS devices. It's really cool, and I'm super proud of how well it turned out. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can get a free 14-day trial and watch the Rico Live Multicam video for free and anything in the back catalog. Go check it out at screencastonline.com. There were some big typos in that, man.
And we've been seeing your screen, not you.
Oh.
Maybe that was intentional.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
Well, you could see the typos I was reading then.
Well, it's a little small.
All right. Let's see. So somehow I had, when I went to say Antonio's name, it also said Let's Talk Photography in the middle of it. Right there. Switch to manual. That was one of them.
I wasn't listening, but did you acknowledge saying Let's Talk Apple?
No, I didn't. So
I need to tell them.
All right. So I said at the beginning of the show, Let's Talk Apple every single time I talked about the show. And the worst part is Bart is who noticed it, but I had sent Bart the introduction I was going to read, and I had him approve it. And in my text, it says, Let's Talk Apple. And he said the reason he didn't notice is because he says it all the time. So that was fun. Lindsay says, every time when I talked to Podfeet, she told me about this switcher. Must have been a tough project. It's really, really cool app, though.
Since you sound a little bit hot on the Hangout, check your recording to make sure it's not too hot.
Too hot? Okay. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with... Sounds good to me.
Go forward into when you're just talking without the music.
Again, she's the author of the excellent book, iOS Access for All. This time we didn't talk about access.
Yeah, that's okay.
Is that okay? It's perfect.
I'd give it a 4.
You know, it's a good question. I shouldn't change it right now, but I could change. What is the input?
Don't change anything, please.
Yeah. Okay, I won't. I might do a save as, though, and save this file. What do you think?
Sure.
I can do that. I haven't seen any saves. Oh, Kevin has been yelling save. I just don't listen to a word he says.
By the way, the chat room has grown quite a bit.
Oh, my gosh.
People are suggesting, I think Brett was suggesting another.
Oh, we got to do another roll call? All right. You just want to see how many people's names I can pull out of their weird titles. All right. Steve, Brett, Kevin, Nick number 1, Sybil, Dan, Sandy, Hombre George.
Denise.
Denise. Sorry, Denise. Did I say Sandy the last time?
I don't know. I have right. Following you.
Denise and George and
bad hombre.
Lindsay and Gino Troy, Landon and Dorothy, John, Rose, Richard, another Nick, Spygosh, Terry is here, Mark is snuck in, and Alistair's here. Why is Alistair here? You're supposed to be at work. All right. Okay, we got to get to work. What else did I have screwed up in here? Okay, multicam, $5 app, Eco Live multicam. All right. Now I need to go find the day the show almost died, which I had written last week and actually ran out of time. I had too much material. We're going to have a big show today because Bart is going to be on, even though it's not his normal on week. I asked him to come talk about that big DNS problem. All right. Oh, and Dan, I figured out one other thing that was bugging me about Amadeus Pro. Every once in a while, hitting the spacebar simply wouldn't play the audio, and it's been driving me nuts. I think I know what's happening. I think when I click in the windows, sometimes I accidentally click where the name of the track is, because I looked over and I was hitting spacebar over and over and over again, and I could see spaces going into the name of a track. So I'm hoping that's what I was doing wrong. If that's right, that's the last thing that was bugging me about Amadeus Pro. Except for, of course, I have to.
Alistair explained it's their Labor Day. That's why
he's good.
Able to be. He's on call, but it must be off at the moment.
All right, good. All right, here we go. I want to do a little public service announcement about YouTube. Please don't ever hit the report button on a video unless you really have a monumental problem with that video. Now I'm going to back up and tell you why I'm telling you this. A couple of weeks ago, I checked my email and I found a notice from YouTube telling me that one of my videos had been taken down and that it violated the community guidelines. Oddly, the video that was taken down was an interview Steve and I did with a vendor at the CSUN Persons with Disability Expo last March. Now, let's be clear. Steve and I are super careful not to ever use copyrighted music in our videos. We never record someone who doesn't know they're being recorded. We ask their permission beforehand, and we use no profanity. I couldn't think for the life of me what could be wrong with this interview. I went to YouTube on my Mac to check this out. I was faced with a giant red notice with only one button, a button to acknowledge that I had read this notice. They weren't asking me to agree with anything, just to acknowledge that I'd seen it. I'm not going to read every line of the notice, but I'll read you the important bits. They said that my video was flagged for review and that upon review, it was determined that it violates their community guidelines and that they had assigned a community guidelines strike. They went on to explain the impact of strikes, and I'm going to read that part verbatim. This is the first strike applied to your account. We understand that users seldom intend to violate our policies. That's why strikes don't last forever. This strike will expire in 3 months. However, it's important to remember that additional strikes could prevent you from posting content to YouTube or even lead to your account being terminated. They went on to explain, if you believe this was a mistake, we'd like to hear from you. Please follow both of these steps, as simply deleting the video won't resolve the strike on your account. I had no choice, so I hit acknowledge and I went into the video manager. From there, I couldn't see what was wrong with the video. I watched it again. I was concerned, but then checked my email again, because that's what I do when I can't figure something out. I saw an email from the very vendor who had been showcased in my video interview on YouTube. I have decided not to call out the vendor because this situation has now been resolved. But I'd like to read his email to me. He wrote, please remove the following video from YouTube and Podfeed. The reason is it is inaccurate. I would be happy to replace it with another video with accurate information. This is a federal program and needs to have accurate information. Well, now my concern turned to anger. The only inaccurate information that could possibly be in this video would be from the employee of his company that I was interviewing. If this chowderhead had my email address, why didn't he just send me a note in the first place asking for another interview? Not sure I would have done it, but he could have asked first. I went back to the video manager, and after a bit of fumbling around in YouTube's always mysterious menu system, I found an area where I could explain why I thought they were in error taking down my video. While I really wanted to paste in the vendor's email to explain my position, YouTube only had provided a very short one-line field. Because I've honed my chops at shortening my content using the wonderful tool called Twitter, I was able to get my explanation into their short field, including the information that I was in contact with the person requesting the material be taken down. I figured it would take a while for this to get resolved over at YouTube, so I decided to write back in the meantime to Mr. Chowderhead to find out what on earth he thought was inaccurate about my interview. Here's what I wrote to him. I said, "Can you please elaborate on how it was inaccurate? We did the interview in good faith with an employee of your company. Because of your action, our account now has a strike against it as though we have posted pirated content. You are hurting my business. If you have good reasons for this, I would highly prefer to take the video off of YouTube myself after you remove the takedown request. It would have been professional of you to contact me first before trying to hurt my business because of words spoken by your employee." Well, Mr. Dorkpants responded with an answer basically as vague as his first email. In this one, he reiterated that he asked that it be removed immediately because it was inaccurate. He said he'd remove the takedown request if I would tell him how to do that. Well, how the heck do I know how to do that? I didn't initiate it. Go back to where you flagged it and look for a way to retract it. He helpfully offered to discuss it via phone. Well, I hate using the phone except for talking to people I really, really like, so that wasn't going to happen. At this point, I figured that they will or won't accept my explanation, and I can stand having one strike on my record for 3 months. But then things got worse. I explained last week or a couple weeks ago that my MacBook Pro had to go in for repairs, so I'd be using my 2011 MacBook Pro for the week. I was in the process of setting everything up just in case I had to use it to produce the show. I downloaded just about everything I could think I'd need. It was time to test out my live show setup just in case I ended up needing to use that machine. I went into YouTube and went to the broadcast live page to test out the live show, and I was faced with a screen that said, because of the takedown strike, I was not allowed to stream live. Can you imagine how many non-Girl Scout safe words I said right then? Unfreaking believable. This joker doesn't like what his own darn employee said, so he's taking me offline? Well, it was time to break my rule and call Mr. Dorkface on the phone. Before I did, I tried to calm my nerves and think logically. I said to myself, what's your objective here, Allison? What's your problem to be solved? You see, if my objective was to vent at someone, then I should start with an opening line that was aggressive and angry. However, if my objective was to get this knucklehead to fix it for me, I just might want to start with a different approach. It's been a personal growth for me to actually think about these things ahead of time before I jump in. So I got Mr. Poo-Poo Head on the phone, explained calmly who I was, and enlightened him on how his actions were impacting my business. He tried to explain how his employee had said inaccurate things, again, not elaborating, and how that employee had since been fired, but that he didn't want to go into it. I asked him why, if he'd had my email address, he hadn't simply contacted me to discuss this instead of taking my business offline. I told him that I would be glad to take down any reference on YouTube and on my website to the free advertising I had done for his company, if he would first retract his takedown on the video. I was kind of afraid to take that video down myself, as I was afraid that action might remove my connection to the appeal process. It took me a few minutes to catch on that this guy pretty much had no idea how YouTube works. He started being defensive when I suggested that he just go back to where he did it and fix it himself. It took him several minutes to find my email where he'd be able to find the link to the video. He then saw that I had sent him a screenshot of the nasty notice I'd received and proceeded to read it out loud to me. I suggested, perhaps impatiently, that we move this along and just go into YouTube. And then he said, well, if you're just going to yell at me, I'm going to hang up. Oh, dear Lord, give me strength. I took a deep breath, repeated my what's your objective speech to myself one more time. I calmly, very calmly swallowed everything I wanted to say, and instead, I apologized, and I explained that I shouldn't be letting my emotions about having my business being taken offline get in the way of having a civil conversation to fix this, and I begged his forgiveness. So Dorky McDorkface then proceeded to dig around on YouTube while I held down my mute button, because I was still saying those things out loud. Anyway, he eventually decided to try hitting the like button to see if that would trigger something. Right around that time, I got an email from the YouTube team which read, Dear NosillaCast, Thank you for submitting your video appeal to YouTube. After further review, we've determined that your video doesn't violate our community guidelines. Your video has been reinstated and your account is in good standing. Love the YouTube team. Okay, maybe they didn't say love. Anyway, Mr. Cheesepants then decided that it was his brilliant decision to hit the like button that had fixed the problem. I sincerely doubt that had anything to do with it. I'm sure the appeals process had worked, as they said in the email. I made him stay on the line until I could confirm that the restriction on my live streaming was gone. Only then did I go back into YouTube, delete the video, and also delete the blog post from podfeet.com. Finally, around now, Mr. Boo Boo apologized. I decided to end the call with what I suggested were 2 life lessons for him. First, I suggested that he never hit the report button on YouTube video again, and that he had a simple path if he had that simple path to contact the creator. Second, I pointed out that he really could step up his game in the apology department. While I was the one that gave his company free advertising, he had taken it out on me and shut down my business, and for that, he could have made this thing a whole lot more friendly if he'd apologized a lot earlier. Are you guys proud of me?
My favorite part of that post were all the names you came up with for this vendor.
Well, I was
that bad, you know. Of course, my favorite being Dorky McDorkface, but
Steve loves a dork something McSomething face. That's his favorite thing in the whole world. Have you told them why you like that so much?
I think that most of them would have heard about that, but you can go ahead.
No. That's your story.
So people must remember the British military vessel, naval vessel that was, I don't know why England did this, but they opened up the naming for this ship, this naval vessel, on the internet and said that they would take all suggestions and to name that thing, to name the boat. And the most popular vote by far was Bodie McBoatface. So there was a period of time, a short period, where the boat was officially named Bodie McBoatface ship. And then I think England came to their senses that we can't do this. We have to change it to something more sensible. I forgot what they changed it to.
It's like HMS Pinafore or something like that. Right?
HMS something, but
oh well. I like HMS Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah, the power of the internet.
That's awesome. The internet is the most wonderful place.
So Terry has a minor complaint.
What's that?
He said in neither roll call was he called out.
Yes, he was. He was in the first one. I definitely read your name the first time.
He missed it.
We can go back in the video and prove it, but I remember noticing that Terry was here. Hi, Terry.
A very special hi to Terry.
Yeah. How's that beard? All right. We got to keep going, Steve. Quit screwing around.
Keep going.
Okay. Mute.
Oh, yeah. Mute.
I've been silent until now about the Samsung Galaxy phones catching on fire. You know, at first I felt kind of badly for the employees. Can you even imagine what it was like being in the room when the CEO found out about this? It must have been a dreadful couple of months for everyone there. Well, in case you need more convincing of how bad the situation with the phones really was, Tom Merritt on the Daily Tech News Show did a bit of research and came up with a good way to understand it. Chemical and Engineering News in 2013 cited the failure rate of lithium-ion batteries at 1 in 10 million cells. Samsung shipped approximately 1 million Note 7s in the US alone and received 96 reports of overheating. That's 960 times the average of lithium-ion batteries. So nearly 1,000 times more likely to catch on fire than any other lithium-ion battery. Now, while that makes me feel better about how many batteries we use in our day-to-day lives, it does shine a light on how dangerous those Samsung phones really were. I hope they aren't around anymore. So I've been thinking about this a lot. You know, in engineering manufacturing, there's a very simple concept called root cause analysis. Where I worked, you didn't just fling around looking for solutions to problems. You dug back and back and back until you could prove what the root cause of a problem was, until it could empirically prove that it was the cause. You didn't even start working on the solution. Well, according to a New York Times article on October 11th, Samsung, despite its best attempts, has not yet determined why the Galaxy Note 7 keeps catching on fire. They were unable to replicate the fires, but they shipped out replacement phones anyway. Samsung showed an utter lack of good engineering and manufacturing quality processes in fixing this problem. And you know what? I'm not surprised. I had my own personal interaction with Samsung in 2005. Now, I told this story on the NosillaCast way back then, but if you haven't been listening for 11 years, you're not, say, Neil, you might not have heard this story before. My friend Diane wanted to buy a great present for my daughter Lindsay for her high school graduation. Okay, realize her high school graduation, this is 11 years ago. Anyway, Diane decided to buy her one of the new fancy LCD monitors. She asked me to pick it out and she'd pay me back. I chose a 19-inch Samsung LCD and I bought it through Newegg in June of 2005. Remember that, June. On graduation, Diane gave Lindsay the monitor and Lindsay was thrilled. It was thin and it was sleek and it was gorgeous. And 2 days later, the color started to shift to pink, then it went to purple and it settled on a nice pale blue. Okay, so the monitor failed. This was disappointing, but you know what? Stuff happens. That was not a problem at all. I mean, you know, it was disappointing, but I just wasn't that aggravated. I called up Newegg, who told me I had to call Samsung. It's kind of a mark against Newegg, but a lovely person answered at Samsung on the first ring. I explained the problem, and they said, don't worry, we'll ship you a new monitor, and in that box would be a return address label. Remember that, that's really important, a return address label, so I could ship the first one back. In a couple of weeks, the second monitor showed up. But guess what? There was no return shipping label included in the box for the broken monitor. We plugged in the new monitor, and in less than 2 hours, it died. Okay, so now I've got 2 dead monitors, and I have no way to ship either one of them back. Now we are talking something about quality of Samsung here, but that's actually not even the point of the story. I was about to leave on vacation, so instead of calling them again, I sent an email to customer service explaining the problem and, of course, including the ticket number. I didn't get a response to my email, but I did get a customer survey call. That's awesome. You can bet we had an interesting conversation, after which the woman assured me someone would call me. No one called. When I finally called Samsung myself, they told me that they couldn't send me another monitor because I hadn't shipped the first one back. Seriously. By this time, if I'm counting properly, this is the third person I've talked to about this problem. Now I'm going to fast forward through 2 months of misery. But let me summarize by saying that I made a total of 11 phone calls. I spent 5 to 10 hours of my time on hold and talking to these people. I was even escalated up 2 management levels to executive level support. I remember talking to one woman who cheerily told me she'd send me the return address labels. With just a pathetic sigh and no energy at all, I quietly said, no, you won't. She protested and asked why I said that. And I told her because the last 11 people had said they would, and they didn't. On September 4th, 2005, remember this started in June, I wrote a very firm but polite letter to the president and CEO of Samsung Electronics. By the way, there's a link in the show notes to that letter. This was a trick my father taught me. He said, just go right to the top. It was only 5 paragraphs long. I was showing restraint, but I attached the detailed accounting of the dates, names of people I spoke to, and transaction numbers, hoping that someone would call these people on the carpet for not doing their jobs. 11 people. I explained that I still had 2 broken monitors and that I couldn't get my money back because they wouldn't send me these darn address labels. Guess what response I got? Nothing. Nada. Zero. No reaction. I continued to call and write to Samsung, and finally, in late October, they sent me the labels. They told me it would take 2 weeks to get my check. On November 20th, I called them again, asking where my check was, and they said, well, we sent it. I asked them for the address they sent it to, and guess what? They misspelled the name of my street so that it was unrecognizable, and I never got the check. I wasn't the least bit surprised at this point. Finally, 2 more weeks later, 5 full months after my purchase, I got the money back. Except they stiffed me the $50 shipping and told me I'd have to talk to Newegg about that. As I said up front, I wasn't mad that the first monitor failed. I wasn't even that mad that the second one failed, although it did make me think about the quality of Samsung products. What amazed and infuriated me was that more than a dozen people inside this company, up to and including the CEO or whoever opened his mail, failed to do their jobs properly. That kind of widespread incompetence isn't a string of bad luck. It's a bad culture. I haven't bought a Samsung product since 2005, and I highly doubt that I ever will. It's a good rant day, isn't it?
You're on fire, Podfeet.
Oh, Sybil says my Samsung dryer was replaced the first month, and then the drum cracked about a year later. Jeez.
Boy, I hope they replaced it the second time.
I got a link, or I got a note on the blog from somebody in Australia who said they had one of the dryers that caught on fire, and it was really hard to get Samsung to give them a new one.
Wow.
Uh-oh. SB Sheridan, don't tell Podfeet. That might be cause for divorce.
Oh, you didn't see that, did you?
What did he say?
Well, people were talking about how long they listen to the show.
Yeah?
And I said I've been listening for about 2 years.
Tuned her out for the first date? Actually, Steve, tell the truth. You used to listen to the show, and ever since the live show's taken off, you don't listen anymore.
It depends.
But you don't listen during the live show either. Let's be fair.
Security light.
What?
Security light. Because the ones you play, you don't actually play in the real time. I do.
Wait, did you see what Rose wrote? She said she's Ranty McRant face.
very, very well.
Oh my God! Hang on. There. Change my nick to Ranty McRant face. Okay, you won the chat room tonight. No doubt. Okay. All right, maybe I should take a breather and calm down. I think the next two things are less ranty. Let's see. Yes, I think they are. All right. Well, Rose in the chat room has just called me Ranty McRant face. So I think maybe I better calm down. Everything else in the show is less ranty. Well, if you get value out of listening to the NosillaCast each week, I'd like you to consider supporting the show through Patreon. Do you think you learn, $1 worth of information out of each show? Maybe my silliness and my rants are worth a quarter a show. Maybe you've been looking for a way to contribute for a long time, and you'd like to pledge even more. It's all up to you. If you head over to podfeet.com/Patreon, you can sign up to become a patron of the NosillaCast. Thank you to all of the people who have already pledged their support. All right.
You just reminded me I should check Patreon.
Yeah, I think I would have gotten an email if anybody new had come on board. I think I get a notice of that. Actually, you know what I should have done? I should have put that one to NosillaCast@gmail.com, because then you'd read them. And I highly doubt that I ever will. Well, Rose in the... Okay. That was some fun ranting. This is going to be a long show. I'm at 18 minutes, and I'm not halfway through, and we got like 20 minutes of Bart, too. All right. There's a lot of terrific to-do apps out there, from the simple little Wonderlists of the world to the great and powerful OmniFocus. But I thought it would be fun to do a deep dive into the Reminders app that's built right into our Macs and iOS devices. I hadn't poked around there in a long time, but it's really quite amazing what we get for free. Reminders is a sort of a go-between that connects a to-do list application with your calendar. If you're an iCloud user, it automatically creates a list that triggers off of your iCloud calendar. But what if you have a work account through Microsoft Exchange, or maybe use Exchange voluntarily? You can add an Exchange account calendar to Reminders and have a whole separate set of lists attached to Exchange inside Reminders. If you haven't gotten rid of your Yahoo account after the recent hacking and improper scanning of emails, you can add an account for your Yahoo calendar. Google? Sure. It even supports AOL. When you open Reminders, you'll see a left sidebar showing those accounts. I'll stick with iCloud for this discussion. At the bottom of the sidebar in Reminders, there's an Add List button. Name your list, and you're ready to go. On the right, you'll see the title of your list and a big plus button waiting to be pushed. You can then type in the action you want to take and hit enter. You'll see your action with a nice little bubble to the left that you get to click when you finish this item. All right, so far that's pretty standard stuff. To the right, you'll see an eye in a bubble. not an eyeball, but like the little letter I. Tap on the I and you'll be able to see why this app is called Reminders. You can be reminded on a day, or you can choose a date and time. You can also be reminded at a location. This is where the real power starts to come in. If you're sitting in an iMac doing this, it won't do you much good, but since Reminders syncs across your Macs and iOS devices, this can be really useful. You can set a reminder to say, bring my headphones at the location of your gym. When you arrive at the gym and get out of the car, you'll get a notification on your iPhone telling you to not forget your headphones. Now, there could be a downside to using this feature. If you use this, location services on your iPhone and iPad will be on at all times until you complete this item. Maybe if you've got a 15-minute drive somewhere and you only need to remember that thing once, the payoff would be worth it. But what if you always forget to bring in your headphones at the gym? You want to tap the repeat option in Reminders and choose a schedule too. If you do that, for the rest of the time, your location services will be running in the background saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Like a 6-year-old in the back seat. You will begin tweeting online about how the battery in this new iPhone is terrible. Or maybe not. I actually posted this as a blog post earlier, and Dave Hamilton read it, and he said that in his experience, this has not caused battery problems. He said that the location services sort of gang up together, and they don't independently all add battery drain. And he said he didn't think this really was a big problem, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that it was happening. All right, so, proceed with caution and use the feature wisely. That said, I use this feature pretty often. I exercise down on the beach while listening to podcasts, and if I hear someone say something interesting or wrong, I'll make myself a reminder to write to them when I get home. Also in that same pop-up window, when you click the I, is the option to set the priority of a reminder. It's kind of a silly feature, though. It lets you choose between low, medium, and high, or none, and all that happens is it puts some exclamation points in front of the action item. High gets 3, medium gets 2, and low gets 1. I was kind of hoping the high ones would maybe automatically pop to the top, but they don't. One of the reasons I like Reminders so much is that it works really well with Siri. While I'm on my walk, I can raise my wrist to wake up my Apple Watch or take out my iPhone and ask Siri to remind me to do something when I get home. I can't see she always gets the transcription exactly correct, but since I'm writing a note to myself, it's usually good enough for me to be able to interpret it when I get to a proper computer. For example, I was out driving this week and I heard John F. Braun talking on the Mac Geek Gab about how he's got a Samsung monitor, and he jokingly said, "Luckily it hasn't caught on fire yet." I thought based on that, he might be interested in reading my story about why I'm not surprised or sorry about Samsung's difficulties. I pressed the home button and said, "Remind me to send John F. Braun my thing about Samsung at 4 p.m. Sure enough, in my Reminders app, you can now see on my Friday list, it had an entry that said, "Send John Efron my thing about Samsung." Perfect. Oh, my throat got dry on that. Had a Samsung 9 Ultrabook.
So Brett says, I was really indifferent to Samsung going into this show. Now I kind of don't like them.
I feel kind of bad. Somebody wrote on the blog post, "Wow, I'm never doing business with them ever again." And I'm, who takes me that seriously? I mean, usually people argue with me and say, "Oh no, I love that company." People love the TVs, but I've always veered away from them.
So have you done a save lately? Kevin's really trying.
Okay, save.
Thank you,
Kevin.
There, Kevin, for you.
I'm sure he has a text expander snippet for that, doesn't he? All right, here goes. Reminders also automatically creates a list entitled Scheduled. Think of it as a smart list. It's just those things that have due dates. So in Scheduled, I can also see that I need to send Jen Efron my thing about Samsung. I also got a notification on my phone and my Mac that said I needed to chat with Mr. Efron. Well, let's see. Lists can be open in separate windows so you can track separate projects at the same time. I can see this being useful to, say, keep the scheduled reminders up separately while working on other items. Like many other to-do list applications, you can see how many items you've already completed, and there's a show button to reveal them. I like this because it helps me feel like I've really gotten some things done. I was looking at my recent list of actions to set up my new installation of Sierra, and it made me happy to see I'd finished 51 of them. Only 8 more to do and 4 more apps left to install. Now, you might also Actually, I'm going to stop and re-record that piece because that was lying. I didn't do it in this app. Did. And there's a show button to reveal them. Let's see. Come on. It helps me feel like I've really gotten. Okay, what am I being stupid about? I was looking at my. I love this feature over in Wunderlist, and I was looking at that recent list of actions to set up my new installation of Sierra. It made me really happy to see I'd finished 51 of them. By the way, only 8 more to do and 4 more apps left to install. But anyway, let's get back to reminders. You might also have a recurring list, like say a grocery list, for example. If you complete all of the items in a list, you can right-click on the list name and choose Uncheck All Reminders. This will reveal all of them and allow you to execute them again. Might be nice for a podcast checklist. Steve keeps telling me I need one of those. I think it's interesting that they have to all be checked in order to then be unchecked. If only some are checked and you right-click on the list name, you see an option to check all reminders. So I guess you can say check all reminders and then uncheck all reminders. I guess that works. Now, some people are very visual. If you right-click on the name of a list, you can select different colors for the titles of the lists. Unfortunately, the colors only show when the list is open. They don't show in the sidebar. I think it'd be kind of a nice enhancement if they did. Well, no good to-do list is useful without the ability to tell other people to do stuff. Let's say I want to make a honey-do list for Steve. He loves it when I do that. With the built-in Reminders app, you can share lists with people. Sharing is really simple. All you do is hover over the name of the list, and you'll see the classic icon, the 4 little arcs like a Wi-Fi signal kind of on its side. Click on that icon and enter a name or address into the box that says Share With. Now the sharing icon will stay visible even when you're not hovering over the name. So it's really easy to see which lists are shared, and clicking on that icon will reveal the name of those people with whom you've shared the list. From now on, any reminders you create in that list will show in the other person's version of reminders, and any notifications you add will show up for them as well. I think I'll go put buy Allison flowers on your way home to Steve's honey-do list. He'll like that. You can even create lists and reminders using other applications. I'm very fond of a recipe app called Paprika for the Mac and iOS. In Paprika, you can select a recipe and add the ingredients to a grocery list. That works great. But it's most useful if you have the iOS app, and maybe you didn't buy the iOS app because you have to pay for it separate from the Mac app. So you can't very well tote your laptop to the store with you. In the grocery list from Paprika, there's a share button. Click that, and one of the options is to share the list to reminders. Paprika asks permission first, and instantly you have a list and reminders entered, actually entitled Paprika. You can export several different recipes from Paprika, and they'll all go into the one list, so you can check them off at the store. It's pretty cool. If you find an article on the web you want to remember to read later or send to someone, in Safari you can hit the share icon and share to reminders. You get a window with the title of the reminder being the title of the web page, but you can change that to anything you like. In the bottom left, you'll see a pull down to switch to a list of your choice. If you don't change the list, it will go into your default list, which you define by simply pulling down from the reminders in the menu bar and choose default, and you'll see all of your lists, and you can assign the default from there. Now, I know this is going to shock you, but I actually read through the help file for reminders. In there, I found a few extra tricks. If an app doesn't have an obvious share button like the one we used in Safari, all is not lost. In many cases, you can control-click on the thing you want to remember, and if you're lucky, share will be one of the options, and you can choose reminders from the share list. I say if you're lucky because it's certainly non-obvious how to do it. For example, I read online that you could share from mail, but for the life of me, I could find no share button in that app. And I am talking about on the Mac, by the way. I control-clicked all over the place, and I couldn't get a menu to pop up. I went back and read really carefully in the help file, and it turns out you have to control-click on the title of the email to get that pop-up menu. From there, if you share the email to reminders, you'll see the mail icon in the note. If you click on the mail icon, it will instantly jump you to mail and open that email. Very cool way to remember to respond to someone. While Reminders does a terrific job of syncing across to iOS, I wasn't able to get the reminders to show up in the sharing list for mail on iOS. The good news is that in reminders on iOS, the mail I had added to the list from the Mac was there, and tapping on it did bring up the email. I'm hoping I'm just missing something here and someone will correct me. I did go into the more settings for sharing, but reminders wasn't in my list. Now, Alistair Jenks commented on this on the blog post, and he said he didn't think it would even be useful if it were there because all it does is share the text that you had selected. It doesn't actually share the real email. So if you use that share button and you share it to some other app, since reminders isn't in there, all it does is grabs the text that you had. It doesn't actually share the email. So that's functionality that only is really useful over on in Mail on the Mac. Now you may want to move a reminder from one list to another, and for that I had to resort to the help file system yet again. The trick to removing a reminder is to click to the right of the name, not on the name, and then drag it over to the new list location. I have no idea how that would work if you're using VoiceOver, by the way. I got to tell you, before I read it very, very carefully, I was clicking and dragging and selecting away without success. Now, I know reminders isn't for the getting things done people, but maybe it's good enough for what you want to do, and it certainly won't cost you a dime. I hope you give it a spin, and maybe it will help you remember to bring flowers to your partner. That's a lot of text. Tired of reading. Oh, we're running out of time, aren't we? Where am I? That's the wrong one. Oh, I did that one already.
We can go over with AlphaGeek.
You sure? Nobody's up in...
No one else is... the next live show is in 14 hours on Channel 1.
I'm not doing another live show, right?
The one after you.
Okay. By the way, there were a bunch of typos in that Paprika article. Did you read that one?
No.
Why not? Not Paprika, the reminders one. I think Paprika's even misspelled once.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so John
Sybil just bought a Samsung TV?
No, an LG. A lot of talk about LG here. And
no, Sybil bought a Samsung.
Oh, did she?
I'm reading it.
Oh, she did. Oh, now you tell her.
Oh, have they seen the picture of...
they want to know about your shirt.
John, it says, goggles up, science is about to happen. What's the name of the website?
I read that as Google up first.
SmarterEveryday.com. It's this really funny science guy, does really good videos where he lights stuff on fire, and he's really exciting. It's fun.
So John's asking, is it a STEM class reference? It's not specifically, but this guy does target, I think, younger kids who are interested in STEM.
You think it's kid related?
Well,
I'm not sure it was.
Actually, no, it may not be. It's probably for people just interested in STEM.
Yeah.
But he speaks in a way that I think kids can relate to.
Well, light stuff on fire with blowtorches.
But I think he's done a few things with his kids, right?
I don't remember. I think I subscribed to him, but I always forget to go watch YouTube.
Yeah, the thing about him is he's passionate about it, so that's what's good about his videos.
Yeah. All right. Every once in a while, there's a device that comes out that everyone loves and urges you to get, even if they can't articulate to you why it's so awesome. I remember around 100 years ago when my friend Eric told me to get a Palm Pilot. He explained to me that it was a small handheld device that would hold my contacts and calendar. I pointed to my 3-pound full-size Franklin Planner notebook and said, my planner already does that. Why do I need this? He was relentless, and I finally took his advice, and of course, I was hooked. Well, this same kind of enthusiasm and zeal is happening around the Amazon Echo. People love their Echoes. They don't just like them, they love them. You may remember when I had Mike Elgin on the show, he said one of the few things worthy of being carried around the world in his nomadic life is an Amazon Echo. He said all the usual things I'd heard before. You know, it can play music, you can ask it the weather, you can set a timer, listen to podcasts. But I pressed him. I said, I can do all of those things with Siri. He said it was different but hard to articulate, so I should just get one. Well, Amazon recently announced the new Echo Dot 2nd edition. The Dot is a small hockey puck-sized device that simply doesn't have an internal battery, so it has to be plugged in at all times. It has a built-in speaker, but it's really designed to use with a Bluetooth or wired speaker. Other than that, it's got all of the functionality of the full-size Echo, but it's only $50. For that price, I could hook it to one of our Bluetooth speakers and give it a try. So I pre-ordered a Series 2 Dot, and it arrived this week. You know how when you open a box, there's often that clear plastic piece of tape you have to cut through, unless it's an Apple device, in which case there's a subtle tab to pull? Well, the Dot packaging had that nice little tab. I started out feeling happy. It also made me happy that the box was tightly packed with no extra space, not a bunch of foam or anything. It simply contained the circular puck of the Dot, a micro USB cord, and a rather large USB charger block. Each piece had a nice clear sticker on it, just like an Apple device. It was time to have some fun. Hey, Steve, it occurs to me this would be fun if I had the Echo in my hand.
You want me to go get it?
Would you mind?
Coming back with Echo.
All right. And I just realized I did, this is really dumb. I didn't put a link, an Amazon affiliate link.
Oh, Podfeed.
No, you're supposed to be gone. I'm vamping.
Okay.
All the things and not put a link on. Why would I have not done that? Let's see, no, I want this one, second generation. I got the white one. All right. Let's go. This week, the Echo Dot second edition. Oh, it's good. And I say we link that to the image I have at the top too. And we'll go link and we'll put that there and we'll do that. And now I'm going to send that back to the blog. All right. Shall I plug it in here?
You're getting sleepy.
Don't. What if it falls, Steven? Bad person. Okay. So this is it. And, that's the back of it. That's not very interesting. So you can see it's got 4 buttons on it, an up-down arrow, or up-down volume buttons, a mic button, and an action button. This is the action button here. And I think that's the microphone right there. And then it looks like around here, that must be the speaker grill. I'm going to plug it in. Dan, the buttons are depressed so you can feel them. I don't know how you'd tell which one was which, but you could probably orient yourself with the power cable. So I think that would be easy for you. Actually, Kevin JR says he's got one and he's blind, so I assume it works for him. All right, I'm plugging it in. And now in a second or two, it ought to start. I'll keep talking, but I thought it'd be more fun if you could see it. Yeah, it's blue. The lighting's kind of harsh here. Thank you, Steve. Okay, Echo Dot, where was I? Here, and preview. What's the last thing I said? I don't remember. Okay, let's go down here. So it's still swirling around. And she doesn't give any audio feedback, though, so it's kind of hard to tell when she's done with something. I don't remember the last thing I said. What did I say? That just like an Apple device, it was time to have some fun. Oh. You hear that?
Hello.
Well, that was nice. Smarter than Siri.
Does anybody listening have an Echo that I would ruin if I started talking to her?
I'm sure there are, but they can tune them out.
You sure? Yeah.
I'm sure the chat room gives you permission.
Yeah. You know, podcasters are always apologizing about that, and I just, moving on. All right.
You're not going to say Echo, are you?
No, I'm not going to say Echo, but I'm going to say, Alexa.
Oh.
What time is it?
It's 5:58 p.m.
Oh, I better finish. Here we go. Now, I figured I could read the little instruction book, but, what kind of fun would that be? I plugged it in and I waited. Some lights flew around the little circle of the hockey puck, but nothing happened. On top, there are 4 buttons. There's an up-down volume buttons, a mic mute button, and 1 button with a dot on it. I held that button down for a second and I let go. The lights swirled around in orange, and then she said, "Hello, your Amazon Echo is ready for setup. Just follow the instructions in your Alexa app." Off to the App Store to download and install the Alexa app. And I opened the app, and the dot patiently waited for me with its circulating orange light. The Alexa app showed me no clues of what I should do. It was supposed to just be telling me what to do. From everything I've seen on the internet, it was supposed to just tell me, okay, here's what you do. Instead, it was telling me about a swell Garth Brooks channel I could play. From what I could figure out online, the app was supposed to be doing something automatically, but it did not. Before I go into the setup process for the Dot, let me outline the process you have to go through to set up a typical IoT device. First, you turn on the IoT device, and it will start broadcasting its own Wi-Fi network. You connect your phone or computer to the Internet of Things device's Wi-Fi network. Now the app for the IoT device will ask you which real Wi-Fi it should connect to and query you for the password. Now you can reconnect your phone or computer back to the normal Wi-Fi network. Now that is the process, and it has never gone smoothly with any device Steve and I have configured to date. But again, that's how it's supposed to work. I had high hopes that the Echo Dot would be the first device to do it right. I decided to bypass the kind offer to play Garth Brooks, and I tapped on the home button. And I guessed next that maybe settings was a good place to start. In there, it showed Allison's Echo Dot at the top of the list. By the way, it also thinks I have several other devices. It sees my Fire TV, which is kind of interesting. This is the app. But it says I have something called a Rogers, whatever that is. And I don't live in Canada, so it's not my Wi-Fi or my ISP. Anyway, I tapped on my Echo Dot, and it offered to reset the Wi-Fi. It seemed kind of weird that it wanted to reset it when I had never set it in the first place, but whatever. When I tapped on Reset Wi-Fi, it told me to hold down the Action button, that's the name of that button with the simple dot on it, and wait for the ring to turn orange. Instead of turning orange, it bonged at me and turned blue-purple. Told me Wi-Fi wasn't ready and told me to ask my Alexa app for help. I thought, okay, maybe I held it down too long. I tried holding down the Action button again, and this time the ring turned orange. All right, we're in business now. The app told me to go to my phone and connect to the Dot in Wi-Fi settings. I went to my Wi-Fi settings, and the Dot showed right up, and I connected to it immediately. I heard Alexa say, "You're connected to Dot. Go ahead and follow Alexa app instructions." Awesome. Back to the Alexa app where it was saying, "Unable to complete setup. Try again." All right. I cleared that notification, and it let me connect to Wi-Fi. But when I went back to the app, it was still telling me to wait for the orange light ring. But I'd never lost the orange light ring. I was stuck there. At that point, I realized my VPN had kicked in because I've told Cloak not to trust my Internet of Things network. Yay! It's my fault. That's good. That's great. I love it when it's my fault because I'm really easy to fix. So forget everything I've told you. It's not the Amazon Dot's fault. It's all my fault. Except when I turned off Cloak, it had the exact same symptoms. I thought, okay, maybe I confused it because I connected when I had the VPN and all that. Maybe it's not its fault. So I unplugged the Dot, and I found the instructions online at Amazon on how to reset it to factory settings. By the way, it's the down volume button and the Action button. But I still had the same problem. I could connect to the Dot's Wi-Fi, but the app would never get off the screen in advance to asking for a real network. I poked around in the help files and was told that I shouldn't have tapped on the one that said Allison's Dot. I should have tapped on Set Up New Device. Well, that's not very intuitive, but great. I'll give that a try. Of course, it didn't matter. I kept getting stuck right after the Dot was connected to my Wi-Fi, or right after I was connected to the Dot's Wi-Fi. I could not get past that screen telling me to go to network settings. Finally, I started searching on Twitter, and I found TechLin46, who posted that she used alexa.amazon.com to do the setup. When I logged into there on my Mac, I was shown the exact same interface I'd seen on the Alexa app on the iPhone, except it rendered really badly. The menus were nearly unreadable. I put a screenshot in the show notes to show you how bad it looked if you don't believe me. I had nothing to lose, so I went through the steps using my Mac in the web interface, and guess what? It worked. First time. After I connected my Mac to the Wi-Fi network on the Dot, it instantly showed me the real networks you can see, asked me to enter the password for the one I'd chosen. So finally, after 25 minutes, I was done with the setup. And then suddenly the orange light went around for a while, and it wouldn't stop. About 2 minutes later, Alexa said she had gotten an important update, but would be ready again shortly. I do want it to update itself. That's what I wanted to do. If it needs a firmware update, you go, girl. You get her done. So that was pretty cool. Finally, I could play with my new toy. The first thing I wanted to do was pair it to a Jawbone Jambox. Now, they have a list of the Alexa certified speakers, but what fun would it be to check that? I put our Jambox in pairing mode, and in the Alexa app, I went to my Dot, into my Dot to Bluetooth and clicked on Add New Device. Boom, there's all of my Bluetooth devices listed by MAC address, not by name. Well, that's not very helpful. I stared at it for a while, thinking about what to do, and after about a minute, one of them changed to say, unknown device. Well, that's way more helpful. But slowly, one by one, the MAC addresses started to turn into names. Finally, one of them said, Steve's Jambox, and I tapped it, and I was in. It worked, but I've never seen anything like this when connecting Bluetooth devices. I've never seen it just show me the MAC addresses for so long like that. By the way, I took the Echo downstairs and connected to a different Jambox, and it came up immediately and said the Jambox's name and didn't show me any other Bluetooth devices. So I'm not sure what happened the first time. Now, you know I don't listen to music, but I suggested that Alexa play me some Paul Simon, and instantly Amazon Prime Music was showing on my phone inside the Alexa app, and his dulcet tones were emanating from the Bluetooth speaker. That's pretty cool. Steve came in, and the first thing he did was he did what he's done with every speaker since he was in college, and that's play Boston's More Than a Feeling. It worked perfectly, and he had a big grin on his face. Now, without suggesting she stop playing the music, he summoned her again, and he asked her when the Dodgers were playing that night. She said 5:08 p.m. Great! Then he asked her, what is the series score between the Dodgers and the Cubs? She started spinning all of her little lights and never came back. Never stopped spinning. I waited 7 minutes. Finally, I unplugged her and plugged her back in to reboot her. Well, we tried the same question about the baseball series after the reboot, and this time Alexa didn't even try to answer. I asked Siri the same question, and she told us it was 3-2, Cubs' favor. Now, I don't want to imply to anyone that I think Siri is flawless execution by any means. She just got lucky this time. I mean, I remember yesterday I tried to have her dial a phone number, and she couldn't do it. She could not dial a number. She kept telling me that number wasn't a contact of mine, even though it was Lindsay's number. Anyway, I don't understand, though, why Alexa didn't at least come back and say, I don't know what you're talking about. She just didn't do anything at all. Now, I haven't had a good chance to start exploring more stuff in the Echo Dot, and I think I probably will like it. It was kind of clumsy getting this thing set up, and I got to say, I was really disappointed in how hard it was to set up. But today we were sitting at lunch and we were watching a video podcast, and somebody used a term I didn't know, and I just yelled out her name and asked her what it was, and she told me the answer. So I think I'm starting to get the hang of the fact that the main thing might just be that you can just yell out to her at any time. We'll see how accurate she is and whether we find more stuff to do with her. But for now, we're going to go ahead and play with her.
So you do need to take a look at the photo Lindsay just telegrammed you.
Uh-oh. Where?
So,
Telegram?
Yeah. Forbes is watching the NosillaCast.
Oh, good.
You got to
send people a link?
You can't. You can't.
Well,
you
there
have
is
to show it on your screen.
Well, you could put it on Imager or something. Yeah. Okay. Let me bring this up. Let me see application window. I'll just
I assume Lindsay's okay with this. I think she is.
Yeah. Okay. I got to make sure nobody else is saying anything in chat.
Yeah, you might want to just focus on.
Yeah, but I want to make sure everything in sidebar too.
Right.
All right. Oh, actually, if I pop it up, can you see it? No, you can't see it as if it pops up.
There it is.
Yeah. Oh,
just too much.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Not enough, definitely.
All right. Stop. That's enough of that silliness. All right. We're almost done, guys. We're in the home stretch. And it's somewhere in there, I got to make a note of this. It said do instead of dot. Oh, you guys. Oh, good. A lot of people are still here. I don't think we're going to be here on the date of the 600th episode.
Oh no!
So we're going to be in Zion at a hotel where we're probably not going to have any Wi-Fi at all. So I'm thinking what I might do. I might take a hint from the SMR podcast. Skip 600. Do 601 and then do 600 the following week. What do you think?
That's very non-linear of you, Podfeed. How can you do that?
Do you think so?
The engineer in you would allow that?
Well, what do you guys think? Plus, Sandy couldn't come tonight. She can't come on the 600th episode anyway. So I'm thinking it's a good idea.
All right, vote time. We need a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Well, the only other option would be to do it like on a. We'd have to do it on Wednesday of that week.
No, you can't have 600 on a Wednesday. Well, we should leave it open.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
We're gonna come back with Skippy makes Skip Face for a show name or something.
I do like Chubsicles is what Nick calls.
Chubsicles is a winner.
Chubsicles. I want to start calling them that too. Let's see. Garage Band goals. Where are my? I haven't got them in my sidebar yet. I am still getting things set up with this. There they are. There it is. All right. I need you. Maybe
so what say you, NosillaCastaways? Do you mind skipping show 600 so we can have it on a Sunday night, probably the following Sunday? And we'll do. Would 601 then come out during the middle of the week?
Yeah. Yeah. It would either come out early or late, one or the other.
George is suggesting episode 599.5. And then 600.
Well, I forget. Somewhere there is a missing episode, by the way. Either I've counted it twice or not enough. I forget which.
People are resonating to George's suggestion.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be annoying though, because then that'll delay when I get to 700 or 1,000
by 1 week.
I know, but
you want to be ahead of all.
Oh no, they want 5. I will take it under consideration.
See, this is what you do when you open it up.
Oh, Denise, yes, we are going to do a live chat for the Apple event. We're going to be at Lindsay's house doing it.
So remind everyone the date and time. Most of them know, but just
why don't you do it? I'm busy.
All right. So I think it's the 27th. So yes. So 10 a.m. Pacific on Thursday, November 27th, we will be in the chat room. No video, but just talking in the chat room.
Talkie McTalk face.
And usually, not always, Bart joins us.
Yeah. He probably will. So is anybody buying anything? I've just decided to take out a second mortgage on the house this quarter.
Now you tell me.
Well, if they come out with a new MacBook Pro, my MacBook Pro is 3 years old, and Steve's iMac is how old? 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, are we talking about an upgrade?
Well, if there is one, and I just bought 3 iPhones and 2 watches, so that's why we need the 599Y McFive9 person. Yes, it is at 10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific.
I'm sure I want to buy all the things. All right, let me check the audio here. We're going to go ahead and play with her. Well, I know it's not an actual security bits week. All right. So, yeah, you guys are getting your money's worth out of this show. You are getting a 65. It's amazing music. You're getting a 65-minute regular show on the off week. All right. Let me go here. Right there. Actually, let me listen to the end of this. Make sure I didn't goof anything up.
Okay. Till then, stay patched and stay secure.
All right. Right there. Well, you got an extra long show this week when you're not supposed to get a show that long, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about it. That's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. And I do know I have a dumb question outstanding I haven't answered yet, but you can get those by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. Follow me on Twitter at podfeet. And remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com/Podfeet.com/Patreon, Podfeet.com/Facebook, Podfeet.com/Google+, Podfeet.com/Amazon. If you can't figure out a URL, you're not paying attention. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to Podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. And before I forget, we're going to have the live chat room open during the Apple announcement next week, so be sure to check us out. It'll be chat only, but go check it out over at podfeet.com/live. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. I should have put that earlier because I bet nobody listens to the end. You guys ever listen to the end?
Huh? Oh, are you still talking?
Nice, Steve. You're not a very nice person.
Thank you, dear.
Let's see. Outro music goes here, and then we go play. And then this goes over here, and we go like that. We slide that over and line our head up, and here we go. Check it out over at podfeed.com/live. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. It should have been more to the left. What? What's happening now? Steve, stay subscribed. All right, Richard does listen to the end. Nice. All right, save. Sound, bump document to new file. Okay, it is 6:15. You guys really ought to be let out of class by now. I can't believe so many people stayed so long. This is fun. Oh, unless you want to play with Alexa. What do you want me to ask her?
Ask her a nested question. See if, because Siri can never do that.
Oh, I don't think she can do that.
I thought I heard she could.
All right, so I could ask her about the World Series and then who's playing.
Yeah, try that.
All right. Let's see. Alexa, when is the World Series?
The World Series will be 2016 World Series, which will take place on Tuesday, October 25th, 2016.
Alexa, who's playing?
Sorry, I can't tell what is playing.
Thanks, Siri.
Thanks, Obama.
So, what was the podcast we were listening to that talked about a smart assistant?
Oh, I think it was actually, it was Leo, and he was talking about how dumb a real assistant would be if she or he couldn't do something really simple.
Like that question.
Oh, I know what it was. It was find out what time the debates are and put it in my calendar. And he said no assistant can do it. And I checked Siri. It was before we got the Echo. Let's see. How about I'll try find out what time the World Series starts and put it in my calendar. Alexa, find out what time the World Series starts and put it in my calendar.
I don't see a calendar setup. To link your calendar, go to the settings page in your Alexa app.
Oh,
right, because you're not in that world. You're in the Apple.
No, yeah, but who knows? Maybe I can put my calendar in there.
So give her something she could do after the first question.
Okay, you think of it while because I'm also
send me a
editing
reminder.
audio.
What time is it? And then send me a reminder the day of.
Hang on.
That may be too complex.
Hang on, I can figure out where I've been saving these files. That's where it is. You don't belong in there. Oh, both of those are in the wrong place. You belong in there. Yes, I want to move those out of iCloud. NC audio. Okay, so did you come up with something?
Yeah, like send me a reminder as the second nested question.
Of what?
Well, the first question about the series.
Okay. Does she know? Oh, she knows my email. Alexa, find out when the World Series is and send me a reminder.
The Chicago Cubs are going to play in the World Series championship for the first time since 1945 and will face off against the Cleveland Indians.
I think she just missed the second part.
Okay, you can connect Google Ranting McBrand face. You can connect Google Calendar via the Echo app. Context is hard. Want to do that. But I just liked it because can you imagine having a real assistant that would go, it blew my mind with that kind of a request.
We will get there. Just 2 or 3 years at the most, I'm guessing.
I guess so.
These companies should be shot.
Let's ask her about the Apple announcement. Okay. Alexa, when is the next Apple announcement?
I'm not sure what you meant by that question.
I seem to have blocked out the word Apple in my lexicon.
Yeah, really. All right. Oh, and Landon gave a good one. Alexa, who is the president and how tall is his wife?
Sorry, I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Well, try the first one.
Alexa, who is the president?
The U.S. president is Barack Obama.
Good.
How tall is his wife? Actually, I don't think she listens after the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, get her attention. Alexa, how tall is his wife with a second?
Right now?
No. Start over, but call Alexa's name out both times.
Okay. Alexa, who is the president?
The U.S. president is Barack Obama.
Alexa, how tall is his wife?
I don't know. But you can take a look at the Bing search link I added in the Alexa app.
What?
Alexa, how tall is the president's wife?
Barack Obama's wife's height is 5 feet and 11 inches,
So she
180 centimeters.
Yeah.
Wow, she's tall.
Can't put it together. How tall was she?
5'11".
5'11".
I didn't know she was that tall. I know I've seen her in pictures where she looks giant. Oh, I know what it was. It was a picture of her with what's her name from the Olympics. So, Olympic athletes, the woman,
Gymnast.
the gymnast. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
the
like
gold medal
3'5"
gymnast. I
or
can't
something.
remember her name.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Alexa didn't start bashing Apple.
Oh, here we go. Alexa, tell me about Bodie McBoatface.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question I heard.
I bet you didn't.
Oh, come on.
Alistair has a good one. Alexa, do you know Siri? Just see what she says.
Sorry, I was distracted because I don't know where a file went, but I think I know. I don't like this process.
George says, ask to see if she can play the Podfeed podcast. Or the NosillaCast podcast.
I've tried that and it didn't work.
Let's
we'll try it. Well, because it has to know where to play it from. And I think it's on TuneIn somewhere, but I think it's on TuneIn inside Alpha Geek. And she didn't know what Alpha Geek was.
And you're certainly not going to get her to play it on iTunes.
Yeah. I mean, I could just try saying it. I didn't say from scratch. Let me get this started before where's my tag data? Hang on. None. There we go.
Wow, we're late. 6:20.
No. I don't know why people are still here.
Make sure Alpha Geek isn't screaming over here.
Yeah. Alexa, play the NosillaCast podcast.
Here's your flash briefing. In NPR News from TuneIn.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. President Obama campaigned in Nevada tonight.
Alexa, stop.
Thank you. She's responsive with that.
She is talking to TuneIn Radio.
Huh? How about saying NosillaCast podcast on TuneIn Radio? No, she got there, I guess.
Alexa, play the NosillaCast podcast on TuneIn Radio.
You'd like to play the program called the NosillaCast, right?
Yes.
I can't get the program, the NosillaCast, from TuneIn right now.
Is it on TuneIn directly?
I don't know. You want me to look?
Yeah, I'm
this
listening.
might take too long, but I'll try.
All right. Sounds like that's good. Actually, make sure the music is at the end. One time the music wasn't at the end, and I have no idea why. Let's see.
Okay, it's on there. Probably not live, but you don't care about that.
It's on there directly in TuneIn?
Yeah, up to 586.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it, does it have Mac in the middle of it? Because maybe that's what's confusing.
It's just called the NosillaCast. Don't say podcast, just say NosillaCast.
Okay. Alexa, play NosillaCast in TuneIn Radio. Shoot, is it?
Getting funky soul classic station from Prime Music.
Oh, I like it. Keep it going.
Oh, I'm going to get a takedown. Alexa, stop. Is that less than 30 seconds?
Yeah, that was about 2, maybe 3.
All
That's a
right.
funky song.
All right. Well, I better produce the show. Everything is uploaded and recorded. If there are no more questions for Alexa, I think we're going to call it. This was fun. Yeah. Oh, Landon. Yeah, go to MacStock. MacStock's so fun. I had to miss it for Chubsicle's birth.
Chubsicle's birth. Right?
Chubsicle's birth. Some definitely fun. Go to that. It's fun.
And it's getting better each year.
And I checked, and the date is not on Chubsicle's birthday, Lindsay. So we still get to go.
I think Lindsay left us.
Did she? I saw Ghibli's. Nope, I guess not. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye. Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye, Gracie.